Joel here at Earth Tools, and we're going to talk today about the new Earth Tools seeder, the multi-row seeder setup that we've come up with. This is a partnership with the Haas company. Haas is a company out of Georgia who makes wheel hose, and they also make a deluxe version of their seeder that normally attaches to their wheel hose, but this is kind of the deluxe version of it, which we have adapted to a walk-behind tractor mount. I've got a Grillo G110 tractor here as my demo tractor, kind of our old beat-up Grillo. But this rig will fit any tractor 11 horsepower or greater. Doesn't take a lot in the way of horsepower to run it. So, what we've got is a toolbar, and feel free to come in with the camera and take a closer look at it. The toolbar is this bar here, which is hooked up to this PTO attachment and has this adjustment on top. So this bar is available as a separate item. You buy that bar up front. It's like $200 or $250. Then you have the connection to the tractor. Most tractors these days are equipped with some kind of a quick coupling. This is the quick coupling that interfaces this thing with a Grillo G110. So you would get the quick coupling specific to the tractor make and model that you have. That's like a $40 component. These are the bolts to put it on. The next component is the Seer unit itself, and we sell these singly. So this whole rig with the clamps and the seeder body all is together. We sell that as an assembly. They're like $250 a piece. So what you're looking at here is roughly $1,000 for a 4-row seeder unit. Now I'm going to hook this thing up. As you can see, we have a wide range of holes available here for how high we attach this to the tractor. And that's because tractors, walk-behind tractors, have a lot of different various wheel sizes available. So we wanted to give a full range of what height tractor you have, because of course the taller the wheel, the higher the tractor sits, and the lower the wheel, vice versa. So I haven't hooked this one up before, so I'm just going to try to guess. I'm going to pick kind of a middle hole position here, and we'll see what happens. Put this thing in here. And I'm not going to tighten these bolts because I'm not sure this is where it needs to be. I'm going to slide it into the tractor receiver here. But when you receive a seeder from us, if you purchase one of these, you're going to be doing this adjustment. So I wanted to show how this is done. Just forward, the whole rig up here. Actually, what we'll do is just pick up this side of it, set it in there, come back here, whole thing up. There we go, right in the hole. I didn't have to lift the whole thing. Drop the locking pin, let it lock down, so we know we're fully locked onto the tractor. That's good. That was pretty darn close, actually. We didn't get too bad. So this is a tractor with 6.5 inch by 12 inch wheels that stand about 23 inches high. I'm in the 4th hole from the top. Now, these holes, the various hole heights here, allow us a coarse adjustment in terms of how high the front of the seeder frame is. The fine adjustment is achieved right here with this crank. When you crank this thing, it actually, as I crank this in, if you look closely, I'm drawing this tube up through there. If I crank it down the other way, I'm pushing the tube down. So the tube is connected to the frame and it pushes the whole frame down. So this is how you do your precise adjustment. Because the angle at which this frame sits is absolutely critical, because that's going to dictate how deep your seed cutters are going to go here, how deep you're going to plant the seeds. Now I'm a little high in the front end because these seed discs are not even touching the ground. These little disc rollers, it's actually a pair of discs on each one, they're arranged at a little bit of an angle, and as they roll forward it cuts open a slot to drop the seed in. The seed drops right between the discs down here. These disc style openers are what make the Haas Deluxe seeder so nice. The disc will roll right through any kind of organic matter you've got in the soil. If you've got old cover crop residue or roots or plants or whatever, they just cut right through that and kind of push it out of the way. Whereas a standard furrow type opener, just like a little plow that slides through there, that stuff will just bunch up on the front and you have to clean it off all the time. So the discs just roll over it. The discs are somewhat adjustable in height, by cranking these knobs up and down, you can crank the disc up or down in relation to the frame. There's actually a little kind of a depth gauge here where you can say, okay, I'm adjusting it to the third notch in, and then you adjust them all to the same depth, so you know that you're setting, you don't have to sit here with a tape measure and try to figure it out. You just go by these notches, just kind of look at it directly from the side and set them all the same. So you've got a depth adjustment here, you've got your depth adjustment here, which is going to create, change the entire frame height to the ground, and then of course you've got your course adjustment here. What I'd probably do, let's see, we could just crank this thing a bunch down. Yeah, that might be enough. Yeah, we're getting those things pretty close to the ground now. Now, of course, when you get out to the garden, you're going to want these things to actually be cutting into the ground. Right now, I'm just brought them down to where they actually touch. We get out to the garden, I'd probably crank that down the rest of the way to get some actual seed penetration into the ground. But you can adjust it here, you can adjust it here. This is going to adjust all the seeders at once because it's adjusting the whole frame. These are going to adjust each individual seeder. So, now we've also got these clamping assemblies here, which are affixing the seeder frame to the main frame. And let me grab the tools here. All you need is a 3/4 inch wrench or ratchet. You can loosen these bolts. And slide the seeders around on the frame. So if you want the seeders closer together, there it is. That's the minimum row spacing right there. Let me grab a tape measure. So the minimum center to center row distance is about 7.5 inches, maybe 7.25 inches. That's how close you can get your rows together with this thing. The reason we've got these things oriented like we do, that is, we've got two halves of this bracket, is because if you want a row right down the center, what you would do is, it takes a little assembly and disassembly to do this, but you would unbolt this bracket, say, this individual bracket, 3 bolts, take this one off, then slide that particular seeder on from the far side until this bracket came up right here. Then you would slide this bracket on from this side and reaffix your bolts. That puts one of these clamps on either side of the center post and gets you a row right down the center. You can actually get 5 rows on this thing. That is 1 in the center and 2 on each side, which is about, you can barely squeeze 5 rows onto the top of a 30-inch bed. You can do the math, 30 inches divided by 5 essentially. So, well, it's actually, you're right, but you've got 1 at each end, so that's an extra. So they're like 29 inches if you squeeze them all on there. Anyway, we've got this one set up with 4 rows, which gives us probably, what, I don't know, 10 inches. Yeah, we're 10 inches. That's fairly consistent on down the line. There you go. Just crank these things on there. Clamps are all oriented up, so easier to get at. And that's that. So, with the Haas system of seed regulation, what you've got is a brush assembly that's actually stationary in there, and as this drive wheel turns, actually there's no seed disc in here right now, so let's put a seed disc in there. Take the brush out, take this spacer out, drop that in there, put the spacer back in, brush back in. Where's my wing nut? There it is. You don't make it super snug, you just get it down kind of semi-tight so it just takes the slop out of everything. And then as this drive wheel rotates, the disc actually rotates within the bottom of the seed hopper. So each seed fall into the pockets by gravity, extra seeds are brushed out by the brushes, and when that seed drops over this, I'm sorry, it's the front. The front is where the seed drop tube is. It drops right down there between the discs and drops into the soil. Haas has 6 of these seed discs that come with each unit, That is, each seeder includes 6 seed discs, kind of the standard sizes. Come up out of there. Let's take a look at those right now. We've got anything from lettuce, carrots, all your small like cole crops, everything up to very large seeds like melons and corn and things like that. These are the standard. There are 4 additional seed discs available from Haas that are various other sizes. And then the beauty of the Haas system is that they offer these things in blanks. You can buy these things with no holes in them at all for $5 a piece. They also sell a little metal template which gives you a lot of different hole spacing options, very consistent hole spacing options. So you use the template to kind of start where your holes are going to be. And of course, how many holes you've got in this is determining how often it drops a seed. Because if you've got 20 holes in this thing, well, it just has to move a little bit and it's going to drop another seed. So if you're dissatisfied with how much it's seeding, if you want it to seed more or less, just get a blank, drill fewer or more holes in it at the appropriate size that you want. So the template allows you to get your holes started very small and consistently spaced, and then you simply take the template away and oversize the plate to whatever hole size you want. If you're using pelleted seed, you'll obviously, this is with pretty much any seeding system, is the pelleted seed will typically give you a little more consistent seeding, but pelleted seed is not necessary for this type of seeder. They do a pretty darn good job. I mean, you can even, if you have a little Dremel tool or a file, you can even make ovalized holes for irregular seed, just file them out a little bit. But for $5 a piece, it's just a tremendously inexpensive way to increase the versatility of the thing. This would drop in here this way. There's a little flat side, you can't miss that, so the flat side locks in to the drive cog down there. Get your spacer back in. So that's the lettuce plate I just put in there now. So like I say, the seeder, when you buy the seeder unit, it's going to come with these 6 standard plates, 4 standard plates additional for $5 a piece, and then blanks for $5 a piece. And the blanks are available in 3 different thicknesses, either this super thin, or this thickness, or the really thick. They're all the same price. So, and they have a little instruction thing in here, which we've kind of gone over all that. Of course, you want the drag chain oriented behind the discs so that as the tractor goes forward, the drag chain sort of covers up the seed, and then as the wheel rolls over it, it packs it down a little bit. Obviously, when using this thing, here we'll put the cover back on, make it look nice. When using this thing, you're not going to want to walk directly behind it because then obviously you're tramping on your seed rows. So you use the handlebar offset that's built into all these walk-behind tractors and simply walk over to the side. You've got enough room here to get off to the side of a 30-inch bed. This thing does have some weight to it, but that's okay because you want some pressure on the back wheels because those wheels are driving the seeder. If you don't have any weight back there, the wheels will skip as it goes along. If you've got a 5-row unit on the back, which is going to be pretty heavy, and you've got a relatively lightweight engine, it might not be a bad idea to hang a little bit of a front weight on the engine bumper. We offer front weights here at our tools, or you can rig up your own. The Grillo tractor, actually, this 110 comes with a built-in 18-pound removable front weight, but I don't have it on this tractor right now. We took it off for something else, and I just haven't stuck it back on. That would actually balance it out a little better, but anyway, it's not on this thing now. But it's not bad. I can lift it up and maneuver it. If I'm lifting it at the end of the row, what I'd probably do is go ahead and drop my handlebars down a little to get a little extra leverage. And that's pretty much it. Like I mentioned, the Haas company is a US-based company. All this stuff is made right in Georgia. And they're real easy to work with. They make high-quality products. And the accuracy of a seeder like this, we've found to be a lot better than the Earthway seeders. The Earthways are, the cheap push seeders that most people get, kind of the entry-level seeder into the farming world. This is a lot more accurate. The Earthway seeders tend to run about 50% seed accuracy, typically. These probably run more like 70% seed placement accuracy. You get up to something like the Jang seeder, which we also sell, they're more like 90% seed placement accuracy. I mean, they're very good, but the thing is you're paying twice the money per row unit with the Jang. And the other thing that we find about the Jang that's frustrating is that you can't seed seeds consistently that are bigger than roughly an okra-sized seed. These things do a very good job on small seeds and big seeds. You have a full variety of seed plates, even though the Jang seeders have seed discs available for them that supposedly take corn and beans, everybody seems to agree that if you put those things in there and run corn or beans through the little Jang JP1, it breaks the seeds. You just jam up all the time. They're accurate and reliable on small seeds. The Jangs are awesome for that. This is more of an across-the-board seeder. Now back up here, this is a grease fitting. Since this is something that moves up and down with this rod sliding through here, we wanted to be able to put a little grease to it. So, you know, if you're doing maintenance on your machine once a year, make sure to hit that with a grease gun, pump a little grease in there. We also made it to where this round rod allows a little bit of oscillation. See, there's a little left and right movement there, and that's very important because if you're going down a bed and suddenly you've just not been steering straight and you're off a little bit, you're a little crooked, and you need to steer it back straight, having a little bit of slop there, a little left to right oscillation, allows you to steer the tractor and it'll track back straight. The seeder will follow behind it just the way a trailer follows behind a truck or a car. If this was a completely rigid mount and offered no oscillation, then if you ever got crooked, you would have to lift the seeders up out of the ground, and steer the machine back. That is, if I got crooked, I would have to pick it up and set it over here. Well, look, it just interrupted your row, so that your row is a mess now. So now, with the ability to steer this thing just slightly, I can crank it back. It'll eventually straighten itself out, and the rows, yes, they're a little curved, but at least you've still got consistently spaced rows that you didn't have a big jump in. Now, we also thought that some people, for some applications, and we couldn't even imagine the application, but we imagined some people may want to lock out that swinging ability. Well, that can be done. You take out that grease fitting, I believe it's a 5/16 or maybe 3/8, I think it's a 3/8 thread, and you just screw a bolt in there. And the bolt bottoms out against this rod. This rod actually has a flat side machined on it right here, so the bolt pushes against the flat side, locks it right in the center position, and you're good to go. You have no swing. But most of the time you would not want to do that. You want to leave that little bit of swing in there. So I think that's it. Thanks for watching.